My name is Noel, and I served in the United States Marines. I was stationed in 29 Palms, California with 2nd Battalion, 7th Marines, and I served in Afghanistan in 2008. Most of the incidents during the Afghanistan uh, war, when we were out there with 27, can have long-term effects. Over there, there's certain roads and type of terrain that you already know are going to have roadside bombs and devices of that sort. So, we kind of ran into this terrain we call wadis. Wadis is kind of just like this old, dried out riverbed. As soon as we got to that wadi, I said, that I feel like something is going to happen here. That's when I saw yellow at first, and then I saw white, and then I heard the sound. Just this really loud pop. I was very, very fortunate. I only had a few bruises and scratches. I found out my platoon sergeant died. And when my platoon sergeant died, I immediately got up, woke up, and I knew. I was like, man, did I do something wrong? Because I was the one that got blown up. I'm like, man, I should have been the one that went. For myself, it didn't really get hard until I transitioned out, and I realized that everybody's just scattered, and now I'm kind of doing it on my own. Some of the symptoms that I noticed immediately for me were the restlessness, not being able to sleep at night. I started realizing that I wasn't trusting anybody. I was isolating myself from anything that could be, associated with, good. I had a hard time trusting people. There was a certain time where I didn't want to live anymore, and I just kind of, I just wanted to die, and it was the weirdest thing. I was sitting on my couch one day, and I started crying, and I just kind of balled up into a corner, and all of a sudden it was like a little kid. I just couldn't stop crying, and I just hated myself so much at that very, very moment, and I didn't want to be here anymore. I started texting a friend, a very special friend to me, and I was trying to find a way to say bye without saying bye so that he doesn't think anything of it. But he caught that. I mean, immediately called the police. I showed up at my house. It made me realize that I cannot be lazy with taking care of my mental health. One-on-one counseling is my favorite type of method for therapy. And that's because when you find someone that you can trust, you talk with them, and it seems like someone's there, someone actually cares, and the more and more you get comfortable with them, the more and more you might share something that you're very uncomfortable sharing before. The biggest fear that I've seen for a lot of people is that as soon as you get labeled PTSD, I'm not going to be able to get a job. I'm not going to be able to be a cop, which I found out it's a lie. I mean, you can still do things like that. 2nd Battalion, 7th Marines is my family. I identify myself with that number wherever I go. But at the same time, that deployment that we went on with 27 in Afghanistan was really, really hard. And we lost a lot of people there. And then we're losing people here to suicide. I think 27 has the most suicides in the Marine Corps. And it's been all over the news in the past recent years. So when you have a lot of brothers that kill themselves like that, it's always hard. And you try to, but it's your family. That's why I love advocating so much for my friends, because I know how important the therapy is for me. And every time I talk to them, I'm like, I know you haven't admitted it to yourself, but you realize that there's some underlying issues, Try to humble yourself right now. Try to be humble and go there and seek some help.